Hi again, everybody. Bill Phillips here on a Friday. That just seems a little bit high, doesn't it? Bring it down. Okay. On a Friday, the weekend has arrived. If you live in the Ohio Valley or any other part of the country, welcome aboard. It is the 9-Minute Phill-Up, and hopefully you're going to have a great weekend, happy, healthy, and safe weekend. And we can't thank Valley Converting enough for helping us bring everybody the 9-Minute Phill-Up. Now, today is the eve of the first ever Major League Baseball game in a NASCAR track. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, do you like that? Do you like when an Olympic-sized swimming pool is put inside Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis for the Olympic swimming trials? Do you like when the outdoor game or, for the hockey, when Heinz Field at the time was turned into a hockey rink, or they do that at the University of Michigan, or they do a volleyball game in Nebraska out in front of in the football stadium. We get 100,000 people for a volleyball game. Or last year they had the outdoor game for National Hockey League in Columbus. They had it in the Horseshoe. Do you like that? Do you like the changing it up a little bit, maybe making the venue look a little bit different, maybe just trying something a little bit new? The Field of Dreams game for Major League Baseball, when major league teams would go to Iowa and go to the Field of Dreams, and they set it up so you could play a Major League Baseball game there and kind of have some fun with the movie, kind of have some fun with what people think about. College basketball on an aircraft carrier. They had a number of games on an aircraft carrier. I remember most recently, the one that I watched was Michigan State and Gonzaga, depending on how you want to pronounce it, the Zags. So all those things. So you get your opinion on whether or not you like that, if you like how they change things up. What about the Pirates? What about the Pittsburgh Pirates? They traded half of their team away this week. So is it nutting, making money, and making good business decisions, saying, hey, we're going to lose 100 games, we can get rid of the guys that have contracts? Or do you think it's just we're going to try and make it better and get some younger prospects in these deals? You don't know what's going to happen with those prospects. So we'll talk about all of that coming up. Get your thoughts on it. If you want to join in, and if you want to sit back, relax, and just listen, we'll have some fun with that too. But right now, we have to thank Valley Converting for all that they do. They have your paper products, and they can recycle them, give them new life. They do that in the gem city of Toronto, Ohio.
Every piece of paper has a story. What if that story didn't end when you were done with it?
At Valley Converting, we turn your old paper products into recycled paperboard, continuing the story.
Locally owned and operated in Toronto, Ohio, bringing your paper to Valley Converting isn't just about recycling.
It's about supporting a cleaner, greener future for all of us.
We are here 5 days a week to help you make some green by going green.
And remember,
recycle for your future.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. Mike Biasi and his crew in Toronto, Ohio, Valley Converting. Can't thank them enough for all that they do. Hopefully everybody's having a great start to their weekend on this Friday, and hopefully you're going to have a great weekend. Should be some great weather around the Ohio Valley. Hopefully wherever you are, the weather is favorable for everything that you want to do. They are hoping that the weather is favorable at Bristol Motor Speedway, because that's where they are going to have the first ever Major League Baseball game inside a speedway. It is a Bristol Motor Speedway. Now, the thing is, it's a small track for NASCAR, but for baseball, it's 85,000 seats. It's big. I mean, it's one of those places where for the race fans, in terms of the track dimensions, everything's small, but it's a huge stadium. It's a huge stadium, and the only problem is, are you too far away from the action? That's one of the things. I mean, it's a great idea. Why not? Have some fun with it. The Cincinnati Reds, Atlanta Braves, if you're just a regular baseball fan on a Saturday night, do you care? Because maybe your team's not playing. If you're a Reds fan, you're into it. If you're a Braves fan, you're probably going to watch it anyways. But for everybody else, if you put it on the national stage, who's tuning in to the Braves and Reds on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock? You're hardcore baseball fans probably. But other than that, you might not get a lot of juice to that because it's just one of those things where people kind of regionalize in the way they follow their teams. But if you put it in a racetrack, I have to tune in and take a look at it, see what it looks like, see if it adds anything to the game and the coverage of the game and what people are saying about the game. So are they going to do a victory lap on the track? Are they going to do a warm up? I have to imagine there's going to be something tied in with the track and NASCAR to tie them in terms of maybe the first pitch or something on the track. Something's going to happen on the track. And then, you get down to playing baseball. But the great thing is, they get a big crowd, 85,000 people. Allegedly, I think it's sold out. And you have two teams that maybe most people, maybe they don't follow. And they want to check out what's going on. So it's a smart play by Major League Baseball. It's kind of like the outdoor games or the games in the National Hockey League where you're outdoors. You're in a football stadium. The January 1st New Year's game, I just remember the one with the Penguins and the Buffalo Sabres. It was perfect. Sidney Crosby was the new star of stars in the National Hockey League. The Penguins go to Buffalo. They wear their old look unis or throwback jerseys, the light blues or whatever the blue is in that. And they go to Buffalo and take on the Sabres. Ends up in a shootout. Crosby wins the game. You want to talk about perfect for the National Hockey League. They couldn't have asked for anything more than that. And people watch that game. People still talk about that game, not necessarily because it was a tremendous game, because there are parts of it was, uneven because you're playing outside, the wind's blowing, snowing, but it was the ambiance of the situation, just the atmosphere of everything that was going on with the snow. And, you have one of the great stars in hockey history at the beginning of his career, and he came up clutch. So it was a great thing for the National Hockey League, and people still continue to like to watch those games. Swimming trials for the Olympics, Lucas Oil Stadium, they take it and they put it inside the football stadium, and they have the event there for the qualifying for the U.S. national team. It's pretty cool. It's one of those things where, maybe that might not impact you that much because it's swimming, but you're watching it and you just know there's so many people there. So it's interesting to see how everything goes. All right, let's see. Judy checking in. There we go. Nothing doesn't care about winning, just saving money. Traded Hayes to Cincinnati for virtually 2 unknowns, and Hayes hit a 3-run home run for Cincinnati last night. I don't disagree. Nothing's all about money, but don't ever be fooled about that. Even the teams that are spending money want to make money, and sometimes you got to spend money and make money. That's an old saying. And some of the bigger teams that have the big market money, they're going to do that because they want to win, but they're also going to make a lot of money. They have to, if they go over the salary cap or the luxury tax that they have to pay. Nutting makes money off of that for the Pirates, but it's one of those things where Hayes. Look at who they traded. They didn't. I don't disagree at all. I really don't. I think it was a money dump. I think it was they traded Hayes to Cincinnati. The 2 unknowns, maybe they come back and play better. Hayes, they were paying a $70 million contract for Hayes. He has 3 home runs this year, and the third one was hit in Cincinnati. So if they had traded, my son mentioned it to me. They traded Ke'Bryan Hayes, and I thought, okay, Ke'Bryan Hayes. When was the last time Ke'Bryan Hayes did anything that really impacted the Pirates and their season? It's just Kiner. Just remember that, like Kiner hit a whole bunch of home runs, wanted a new contract with the Pirates back in the day, and they said, we can lose with you, we can lose without you, because they weren't a very good team. Right now, the Pirates, they're not good. The best player on the team is Paul Skeens. People show up to watch him pitch. Mac Miller bobblehead all night, it's sold out. Not because of the Pirates, because it was Mac Miller bobblehead night. I do not disagree with you at all. You make a great point, but don't get too hung up on Hayes hitting a home run for Cincinnati. Now, that said, I do, I want everybody to do well. I mean, there's no point being negative about anybody, but Ke'Bryan Hayes, if he goes to Cincinnati and it jumpstarts his career, then, and he does well for Cincinnati, Well, maybe it's something in Pittsburgh. Well, why wasn't he? Then the question is, why wasn't he able to perform in Pittsburgh the way he is in Cincinnati? So a home run last night. He's juiced up. He's ready to go. He has a good game. People, Rich Donnelly, who I talked to, I remember one time he told me lifetime numbers are lifetime numbers for a reason. So he has not been a big power guy at third base. He's fielded his position well, but that's not what he's paid for. He's paid to hit, and he hasn't hit. And, so it doesn't bother me that they traded him. It doesn't bother me that they traded Bednar. They traded guys that have actual money that they still have to pay on their contracts. The guys they kept, I was talking to Don Sloan about this, and he brought that point up. He said the guys that they're actually keeping are guys that their contracts are basically up next year anyways. So they're getting money off the books, and then next year, if they get rid of the guys that they have now, they didn't have to pay them anyways. So yeah, it's a money thing. It's always a money thing with the Pirates. The biggest thing, and John Steigerwald, who longtime KDKA sports anchor, he used to say all the time, the way people need to, if they want a new owner, if they want something to happen with the Pirates, if they want the Pirates to change their ways, don't go to the games. Don't go. Because if no one shows up, now the advertisers are going to say, why am I going to spend $1 million to put a sign on the outfield wall for the entire season? So let's, a lack of a better, let's say, just make it easy because I don't want to upset any advertisers. Not that I really care, but let's say the Pittsburgh Penguins decide they want to put an advertisement on the outfield wall at PNC Park for the Pirates, and the Pirates say, "Well, it costs for that spot. We need, or let's say IC Light. Let's say the beer company. IC Light's going to put their sign out in center field for the Pirates, but they're going to have to pay $2 million for the season." Now, that IC Light sign is going to be seen a ton of times on TV. It's going to be seen by all the people that show up at the game. But here's the deal. If no one shows up to the games, maybe they're going to rethink it. Why am I spending $2 million to have 7,000 people look at the sign? Now, they do get the TV coverage, so that kind of, balances it out a little bit. But that's one of the things that Steigerwald came up with. He's like, just don't go to the games. And that's one of the things. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily they go to see Skeens. Other than that, I think people love to go to a baseball game, love to go to the live event, love to be at PNC Park, because you can go to PNC Park and it sells itself. You can sit in the ballpark, have a refreshment, a dog, a beer, maybe some peanuts, Cracker Jack, whatever the case may be. It is a beautiful setting to go and watch a Major League Baseball game. So people show up to just do that. Hey, it's summertime. Hey, I can get 4 tickets for $20 a piece. Take the whole family. You go out and watch the game. Maybe get something to eat beforehand or after the game. So people go. But in terms of watching the team right now, trade everybody. Doesn't matter. They're I know they've won 8 of their last 9, but just a few days ago, and I haven't looked at their record right now. They were 20 games under 500. They are going to lose over 100 games this year. So does it matter? If they trade everybody, it really doesn't. And it is a money move. I completely agree with you. Judy's makes a great point. It's a money move. It's always a money move. But again, remember, keep Brian Hayes. Don't get too excited that he hit a home run last night, because at the end of the year, if he hits more than 10 home runs, I'll be surprised. Now, the only thing is, the one caveat to that comment is, I could go and hit 10 home runs at Cincinnati's home ballpark. I think that's where they're playing last night. That place, everybody hits home runs there. The ball carries there. It's a home run haven for, Major League Baseball players. So, maybe he hits 10 or more home runs, but basically he wasn't doing anything for the Pirates. And if he does go there and he does add some power to his game, then you go back and you think, well, what are the coaches in Pittsburgh doing? Who's the batting coach? Why didn't they have him doing this well here? So it's just one of those things. Bednar, he's been hot and cold. His career, Pittsburgh guy, started off great, all-star games. He hasn't been consistent. He struggled over, but they owed him money. They owed him some pretty decent money, so they said, let's get rid of him. So I completely agree. It was a money dump. And then, so we'll see what happens with the Pirates down the road. But I don't know. Judy, what do you think about the Reds and the Braves playing at the track? You know, the biggest thing with those events, if you're there specifically to see the game, if you go to see it in person, you are a long way away. The racetrack and to the baseball field is a long way away. If you go to, when I went to the game between the Capitals and the Penguins at Heinz Field, you are a long way away from the hockey rink. Football field, it's bigger. The rink, it's smaller. It's just you're a long way from it. But the novelty of it is tremendous. The only thing about the hockey rinks on the football fields, they have to walk so far in their skates, which is really not that big a deal. But it just seems like, wow, they're going on a trek to go across to get onto the rink. And the interesting thing, the NHL, they dress it up. They put white foam or cloth down to make it look like snow and everything. Great thing about the game between Buffalo and the Penguins up in Buffalo at Orchard Park was the fact that they had actual snow. And that was pretty tremendous. They've done it in Fenway Park. Now, Fenway Park would be pretty good because that ballpark's just not that big. So you feel like you're right on top of everything anyway. So I don't, it doesn't bother me, the big events. Now, last year, Columbus and Detroit at the Horseshoe, that is a huge stadium. And even for football, the first row of the stadium seats for a football game are a long way from the field. So you're not as up close like you would be in an indoor rink, but it's still fun to go. It's more about going to the event and having fun. And then, like I said, I really think a lot of people will watch, and you can watch it on Fox 9. Coverage starts at 6:00 tomorrow. It is the NASCAR track in Bristol Motor Speedway. It'll host the Cincinnati Reds and Atlanta Braves tomorrow, starting at 6:00 with the coverage, and it's on Fox 9 if you want to watch it. If you are a baseball fan and you just want to see something different, this is your chance. If you're Cincinnati Reds, Atlanta Braves fan, you're definitely going to tune in. Everybody else, it's a curiosity. It's going to get more people to tune in to a game that they may not even try and watch because you don't have an opportunity. You're kind of like, okay, the Reds and the Braves. If I have nothing else to do, I'll flip on the TV, watch a few innings. But tomorrow with the racetrack element, you may watch a little bit more. So it's a win-win for, and I'm sure the players will have a good time. I would imagine they'll have, I don't know, if test rides or, ride-alongs for the players. They get a NASCAR starter to drive them around the track. And, so I'm going to be curious to see what they do with the track to include that in the game, if it's with the first pitch or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But so anyways, we got to get rolling. It's a Friday. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend. Judy, can't thank you enough for joining in. Greatly appreciated. Great comment. And I'm with you on that. I think they're just getting rid of the money. And we'll see what happens with Brian Hayes, how he does in Cincinnati. But, basically they traded him for a few prospects that may or may not get it done. Let's see. Should be interesting. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm hoping for an interesting weekend. Fun, happy, healthy weekend, but interesting. Something interesting. Hopefully goes on this weekend. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend. Judy, have a great weekend. I greatly appreciate you stopping by with your comments. Please do anytime. If you have a topic next time that you want to talk about, just put it on there. We'll talk about it. And again, I can't thank Valley Converting enough for all that they do to support the 9-Minute Phill-Up. So until next time, everybody, remember the 2 rules. Have fun and always try your best. Have a great weekend, everybody.